The Left Behind, AI and the Global Divide. The Invisible Army. When you chat with AI, it feels like magic. You type a question. A perfect answer appears. But every magician has a secret. Behind the intelligence of modern AI, there is an invisible army of human workers. Not in Silicon Valley, not in New York, but in the global South, in the Philippines, in Kenya, in India. They are called data labelers. Here is the reality. An AI does not know what a stop sign looks like until a human in Manila draws a box around it. It does not understand what hate speech sounds like until a worker in Nairobi listens to thousands of disturbing messages and labels them. It is not born neutral. It is trained. This is not a futuristic laboratory. This is the new digital factory floor. They are not sewing shirts. They are sewing intelligence. Now, we turn to those who are being left behind in the AI era. The Office of the World. There is a name for this industry. BPO. Business Process Outsourcing. You know it as the call center. For decades, it was called the Office of the World. When an American loses a credit card, the voice on the line is often in Manila. When a British hospital needs medical records typed, the files often go to India. Entire cities grew around this work. In the Philippines alone, millions of families depend on it. For years, experts warned, AI will destroy this industry. They imagined robots replacing humans on every call. And in one sense, they were right. The script reader is disappearing. If your job is simply reading instructions from a screen, the machine is better. It never gets tired. It never loses patience. But something unexpected happened. A new role appeared. The AI pilot. Today, many agents are no longer just answering customers. They are correcting the AI, fixing its mistakes, handling the angry, emotional, and confused human situations the machine cannot decode. When the chatbot hallucinates, a human steps in. When the conversation turns messy and personal, a human takes over. The worker did not disappear. The worker moved up one layer, but not everyone can. And not everyone will. The hidden internet. There is another side to this story. It is not about jobs. It is about knowledge. For decades, the internet was not one internet. If you spoke English, you saw one world. But there has always been a hidden internet. Millions of scientific papers in Russian, in Chinese, in Arabic, in Japanese. Research that most of the world never touched. A friend once told me something quietly. There is biology research in Russian that the West never even knew existed. In the past, language was a wall. A very real wall. But AI does not care about borders. It reads everything. It ingests a Russian biology paper, translates it instantly, connects it to an American chemistry study, links it to a German engineering textbook. This is not just translation. This is synthesis. A new thing is emerging. A universal library. A global mind. For a student in Davao. For a researcher in Delhi. for a teacher in rural Kenya. You can now ask a question in Tagalog and receive an answer built from knowledge written in 5 different countries. For the first time in history, access to knowledge is no longer limited by language. The walls are not cracking. They are dissolving. The Great Leapfrog. This access creates something powerful. Leapfrogging. We saw it before. Africa skipped landlines and went straight to mobile phones. Now it is happening again. In farming. In rural Kenya, a cassava farmer walks into her field. Her plants look sick. She does not have an agronomist. She does not have money. She does not even have reliable internet. She takes out her phone, points the camera at a leaf. An app scans it and speaks. In Swahili, it tells her what disease it is and what to do next. The AI did not learn this from one country. It learned from millions of images collected by scientists around the world, from universities, from research stations, from agricultural institutes. The knowledge of the planet is now compressed into a phone. This is not science fiction. This is already happening. And it matters. Because early diagnosis saves crops. Crops feed families. Families survive seasons. This is one of the quiet miracles of AI. The price of the miracle. But every miracle has a cost. Here comes the uncomfortable question. Who owns the data? When a farmer in Brazil uses an American AI system to map his field, who owns that map? When a hospital in India uploads scans to a foreign AI platform, who owns those patterns? When millions of workers label images, conversations, emotions, and mistakes, who owns the intelligence created from that labor? In the 19th century, empires took gold. They took rubber. They took land. Today, something else is extracted. Behavior, language, images, human judgment, data. This is why some researchers use a dangerous phrase: data colonialism. The Global South provides the raw material. The Global North refines it and sells it back as software, as subscriptions, as platforms. We are feeding the global brain. However, the profits mostly land somewhere else. A real story from the Gulf. Some countries are trying to stop this pattern, not with speeches, with infrastructure. Let us take one very concrete example: the United Arab Emirates. For decades, the UAE built its economy around energy, oil, gas, infrastructure. But in recent years, a different fear began to grow. What happens when intelligence itself becomes a rented service? When every language model, every medical AI, every education system belongs to foreign companies? So, the UAE decided to build its own large-scale AI model. They called it Falcon. Falcon is not a startup demo. It is a national project. It was trained on massive multilingual data, including Arabic, Gulf dialects, regional content that global models often ignore. The goal was not to beat Silicon Valley. The goal was sovereignty, so that governments, schools, and institutions in the region do not depend entirely on foreign platforms to process their language, culture, and data. This is not about pride. It is about control. Because once intelligence becomes infrastructure, whoever owns the infrastructure holds power. The philosophy behind Falcon is simple. If you rent your intelligence, you are a tenant. If you build your intelligence, you remain a nation. Singapore is doing something similar. So are other countries. Quietly. Very quietly. The new global divide. We often discuss the digital divide, but a new divide is forming. Not between those with internet access and those without. Between those who build AI and those who feed it. Between those who design models and those who clean the data. Between those who own the brains and those who train them with their lives. This is not a clean division. Some countries are moving upward. Some companies are building local talent. Some governments are investing in domestic AI research. But the gap is real, and it is widening. The human cost, nobody likes to talk about. Let us return to the invisible workers. Labeling is not only boring, sometimes it is psychologically brutal. Moderators see violence, abuse, sexual exploitation, hate, extremism, day after day, so that the rest of the world can have safe AI. In many places, these jobs are outsourced precisely because they are invisible. Because the emotional cost does not appear on balance sheets. The machine becomes polite, but a human absorbed the ugliness first. And yet, this is also a real opportunity. This story is not only dark. There is another path emerging. In many developing countries, young people are using AI not as labor, but as leverage to write better code, to design products, to build startups, to access global customers. For the first time, a small team in Nairobi or Cebu can compete intellectually with a team in Berlin or San Francisco. The barrier to entry for knowledge is collapsing. The barrier to ownership is the next battle. The central question. So what is really at stake here? Not jobs, not call centers, not chatbots. The real question is this: who owns the global mind? The world is creating a single planetary intelligence layer, built from every language, every culture, every mistake, every labeled image, every correction, every human judgment. But intelligence is becoming infrastructure. Just like electricity, just like roads, just like networks. And infrastructure shapes power. A future that is still open. We are standing at a rare moment. The technology is new. The rules are not fixed yet. Countries can still decide. Do we remain only data suppliers? Or do we become builders? Do we educate only operators? Or do we educate architects? Do we consume intelligence? Or do we create it? The real meaning of the left behind. The AI revolution is not happening evenly. Some nations design the systems. Some nations train them. Some nations merely use them. But for the first time in human history, the sum of human knowledge is truly accessible to almost anyone. A child in a remote village can now reach the same global library as a professor in a capital city. the system is no longer theirs by default. It can become ours. But only if we stop being only the labor and start becoming the builders. The global mind is growing. And the most important question is not what it can do. It is, who gets to shape it? Next time, we ask a strange but powerful question. Can artificial intelligence understand animals?